I am Ngozi. I'm a Senior Director of User Acquisition for Fairygodboss, the largest career community for women. I'm also the co-chair at Embolden, which is a global not-for-profit organization focused on championing women in digital and tech. And like Jeet, I am super excited about this panel. Have some really great product leaders across different industries, B2B, B2C, here to talk about product and growth. And without further ado, just want to jump right in and start with an introduction. So tell us who you are, what you do, where you work. And for a fun icebreaker, please let me know your go-to passive-aggressive email line. For instance, mine is the classic, per my last email, ...
Cool. So I'm Belinda Alzner. I'm a senior product manager at The Score. The Score is a sports media application. We're also pending regulatory approval, launching the first, we're going to be the first media company to launch a sports betting app in New Jersey. My passive-aggressive email line, I was thinking about this, and it was really hard to narrow down, which I think says a lot about me. But I think just a classic, just following up. I'm pretty impatient, so.
Hi, I'm Nataliya. I'm a senior product manager at League. League is a digital health platform. It combines benefits, health, and lifestyle for employees. So it's a B2B app, but I work on a B2C part of it, and I'm specifically managing the health experience, where every day I obsess on how to get members not just engaged with the app, but engaged in their health. My background is in data science prior to that, so why you would hear a lot from me about analytics. And my passive-aggressive line, so League is not into emails, first of all. It's all Slack and communication. And I'm pretty direct, so I don't have many passive-aggressive lines. It's the opposite, but I do. My favorite one is just a friendly reminder. And I think this gives a little bit of a warning that afterwards the reminders might be not as friendly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanzina, and I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager at Sage. Sage is a global tech company that provides small business and ERP solutions. Globally, we are the largest small business solutions provider. So anywhere from accounting apps to business management solutions, Sage is there for you. And my passive-aggressive email line would also have to be as per my last email.
Classic.
Yeah.
All right, so first question for everybody. What does growth mean to you in your roles, and how do you guys think about it in your day-to-day? Belinda?
Yeah, so growth for me is about, I feel like what I have to say is all like very obvious things, but it really applies in product a lot, is just you have to know that North Star metric that you as a company are all working toward. And once you have that North Star metric, you look at what KPIs do you have that sort of ladder into that metric. And as a product manager, I then looked at how do I move those individual KPIs. So for The Score, we make our revenue off of advertisements, whether it's programmatic or direct sales. So for me as a product manager, when I started at The Score, before we started down the path into sports betting, I was working on the content team, so working with our news editors, both building tools internally as well as for our news consumers. And so for me to sort of move that North Star metric of revenue, which was for us driven through advertising, I looked at increasing time in app. So that was the KPI that I wanted to move. So we started looking at features that would increase that time in app. So you have to understand not only like the funnel in terms of how people are moving through the app, but in terms of what individual KPIs can you as a product manager move to impact that. Everything you build should have a business objective, but get really granular in terms of like the actual things that you're trying to move. Because you can, UA, you can get as many users as you want, but if all of them drop off on your day one, then that money's just like out in the internet ethers. Like I don't know where it goes, but not to you. So how do those KPIs in your product, do you build them to grow that overall North Star metric?
For me, the main metric overall is around engagement. So it's actually once the members register to get their benefits is how they actually engaging at the app. And that's their first activation because we offer a number of services such as like health programs and building your health data. Also, we have a marketplace, we have health concierge who are registered wellness and nurse practitioners. And so it's how do we get users to initially try one of the services and then to stick with it. Right, so the global metric for us is kind of monthly active users, but mine are a lot more granular because for members to really engage in health, it needs to become a habit. So I'm starting to care more about daily logins. And what I see is, and I love funnels. I think I use funnels in my life all the time of how I communicate to people and how you do shopping, and when I talk to my son, explaining how things get from very large to very small and how you make choices. So for me, it is a classical funnel. It's the members come on the platform, they need to convert, they need to activate, they need to try one of the services. And that might be not just health, right? Because some members will be interested in health, some will be interested in our lifestyle offerings, some will be interested in just benefits and exploring their benefits. Then I also need to make sure that they understand their benefits because that's our value proposition to employers, that their members, that their employees are going to get more out of the programs they offer, and also that they are going to improve their health and reduce employer costs. So it's a lot less direct metrics, but we have to be very careful to make sure that the metrics still ladder up to those revenue driving. And so for me, it's that they activate it, that they convert into services, and then afterwards, it's the engagement and more, I would say, almost adherence. Right, so if they're part of we have health programs where we give members daily tips to get healthier in different areas of health. And for me, what's important is that they come back every day to complete that goal. And when they complete that goal, they maybe explore more. So then I look, if they convert it, do they come back? How long they stay? Do they enroll into the other program? And I follow them through the cycle.
I have a similar kind of focus as well for our products at Sage. Of course, at a high level, our targets are very revenue driven and focused on organic revenue and recurring revenue. But on a product and commercial level, we are very interested in seeing how we retain our customers and how we engage with our customers and how they are using their products. And so from all the way, I own a small business segment where we have solutions that are app-based as well as desktop and cloud-connected or hybrid and fully online. And so we're constantly looking at how our customers are engaging with our product and how they're using our product, as well as from the start of, when they first buy the product, how they register and start up their account, how they set up their company, and how they're using the various modules that are available within our product. And so when we're determining how we grow our product and how we grow our business, we are very well connected on how our customers are using our product and using that sort of product usage data to help drive us in the direction that we want to go for ourselves as well as our customers. So we're always very connected with product usage data and how our customers are engaging with our product, as well as being in line with what our customers are telling us and what their needs are as well. So being very tied to customer feedback and speaking with our customers, interviewing our customers to understand how we need to build our product in a way that serves our customer best. And if we achieve that, that'll also help us drive those top level KPIs or targets in revenue and recurring revenue.
Awesome. So I'd love to hear examples from all you guys of tests that you guys ran utilizing the funnel user experience that significantly impacted business metrics and your goals, whether it was negative or positive. Nataliya, you can start.
Oh, sure. I'll give two examples, if you don't mind, one from my previous life and one from the current life. And the reason I want to give from my previous job, I used to be at a financial institution and I managed their online banking and onboarding. And this is literally how I became a product manager. It's because I was responsible before I was driving, it's called digital engagement, thinking about how do we get customers from using offline methods and channels to communicate to us with online, which is like a pretty common problem. And we had a lot of marketing campaigns of how to convert customers and how to get them to enroll into paperless statements. That's a big thing for a financial institution because it's good for the financial institution in terms of cost, but it's also good for customers because then they get exposed to the digital solutions. And we ran a lot of marketing campaigns, and at some point, you know, I kind of said, like, we can't do this anymore. My job should not exist, because I think the good experiment is experimenting with onboarding and default options during onboarding. And my hypothesis was that people don't actively think on their to-do list. I have to think about my paperless settings on my credit card statement. Like, that's not a decision anyone takes time to actively think and then go and actually do. And so I wanted to leverage some of the behavior science, and I built a business case, and that's literally how I became a product manager. We built this onboarding experience where, as a part of when you sign up, at least for online banking, the screen appears and says, you know, you will be auto-enrolled into paperless statement, and if you'd like, you can opt out now or you can opt out later. And being the data nerd I am, it was amazing because it was a true slide of before and after, where you could see it was, I remember it was like 49% increase or something, and I was like, I need to be like 50% so I can say I doubled it. And I still remember saying we doubled it, but we did double the conversion for new customers. Afterwards, we still had to do a lot of work for existing customers, but at least I feel like it's a right approach in terms of onboarding, because the way I think about it, it's like a leaky boat. You know, if your new customers are not set up optimally the way you want them to set up with all the options in the product, then you're constantly trying to market to your existing customers to close the gaps. So this way I felt like, you know, we kind of patched the leaky boat. Now the new customers are enrolled into the experience that we know drive engagement, because now they have to log in on a monthly basis to check their statement, right? And now we had to just work with the existing customers. So that was, you know, and I pay a lot of attention to onboarding experiences since then, and especially the power of behavior science, things like defaults, where you can, within, you know, legal framework, defaults, choices, some of the things we're exploring at League in terms of motivating people to take action is actually social proofing as well. Like people like you, or personas. And an experiment we're launching at League right now, and literally I'm talking like, I think it's today or tomorrow. I think it's like we're trying to push for it today, is when members come into the experience, rather than letting them explore the app, we're going to put recommendations right in front of them. Like, this is what we recommend the first things you enroll into with League, which is like some of the health program that we curate based on some data we already know about you, which is like basic demographic data, which we think what lifestyle changes you can make. And so we're placing that right onto the home feed and going to see that increase conversion into our health programs. So wish us luck.
Good luck. So at Sage, we actually started with our first app for at least Canada. We had an accounting app that integrated with our desktop solution. This was a few years ago. And we would try to cross-sell the app to our existing desktop customers to say, hey, if you're on the go for your business and you're trying to invoice and do this and that, the app is the solution for you, because you can take that on the go and not have to be chained to your desktop solution. So when we first launched the app, it actually didn't do so well. We weren't getting, you know, customers to buy into it. We weren't getting the ones that we did get to buy into it. We weren't really getting the usage that we needed to see in order to see retainment and customer retention later on. So we had to go back kind of to the drawing board and understand if the user experience and the way we've designed the app is actually optimally designed to to actually function for the business owner or someone who's part of a business that's on the go. So in order to do that, we actually went back to the drawing board and we talked to customers, and we actually took a look at, what is a customer's day in the life of as a business owner, and what are the top functions that they would require if they are on the go specifically, and what are some of the functions if they were to work with an accountant or they are doing the accounting themselves for their business. So taking a look at that, we redesigned our interface to make sure that we offer the top functionalities first, and they're more interactive and they're more intuitive. And then we relaunched our app as an integration still to the desktop, and it helped us so much with existing users, and we use the feedback continuously from our existing users to enhance the app even further. And we were able to not only have it as an integrated solution or app to our desktop solution. At the point now, it's been about 2 years, and now the app stands alone as its own accounting solution. So it really went back to trying to understand what our customers' needs were, and really getting granular in terms of speaking with them and asking them questions about how the journey was for them when they were using the app, and trying to use that feedback to figure out how we want to design the interface, how we want to design the functionality, and what is actually most important for them to access versus second priority for their accountants or and so on. So that was one of the tests that we ran. There were actually multiple tests that we ran in order to really optimize the solution. But really just taking small tests at a time and understanding your variable and really speaking and connecting with your customers really helped us build the product that we have, so much so that it now stands as its own product and it's not an integrated solution with something else.
Can I ask a follow-up question, maybe for both of you? What is the process that you go around to actually understand which experiment you're going to run first? And what infrastructure and structure do you have in place to run this experiment?
I feel like for us, I was going to talk about this a bit in my answer. So we've been, like I was saying, we've been building this betting app, and we've been sort of like, our whole team's been at it for 6 months. So I'm going back about 6 months in my memory. But for us, it was just, our entire product team sort of comes together and talk about all of the experiments we want to run, and like I was saying, all the metrics that we think that it'll impact. And then it's just a matter of prioritization. We are fortunate enough to have a large enough engineering team that we can sometimes have like multiple things ongoing at once. And then in terms of infrastructure, we actually built our own A/B testing platform in-house so that we can run tests one-off, get results. Our analytics team will run us through them and help us determine like what is a good experiment, and then once that experiment's over, to go through the results of it. So it's a lot of it's just prioritization for us a lot of the time.
Yeah, similar for us, prioritization. We collect feedback from customers within our product. So a customer can say, oh, you don't have this feature or you don't have that. So we take, like I mentioned, we take as much feedback as possible, and we come together with our product team. As actually we incorporate all of our teams from support, sales, marketing, product, to understand a holistic view. So all of the front lines from sales to support, and all the feedback that we get from product, and talking to our R&D teams, we get a better understanding and a holistic understanding of what the priority should be to design various features or enhancements for our products. And then we add another layer is the, how do we monetize on it, or how do we use this particular feature to help us retain or cross-sell to customers. So there's 2 layers: what's right for our customers and what's going to help us make money. So using the 2 layers to really help prioritize, and then together as our development team, as the whole team, actually, we prioritize, put it on our roadmaps, we share it with our customers, see what the feedback is as well from our customers after we announce, okay, this is what's coming up on our roadmap. Then we move forward and kind of try and execute. In terms of infrastructure, I believe we have our own development team, And we use a lot of partners as well. So other companies that, let's say, provide a solution where we don't have to build a feature or a solution ourselves from scratch, we leverage and partner with other companies that provide those solutions to go to market faster and to be able to already, take a solution that's already in market that is optimized already and not have to build that from scratch and use them instead and their brand power to integrate with our products and take it to market.
Yeah, and then just to add on to that, like I was saying, our tests are all very quantitative driven, but to get to what the actual test is that we want to run, there's a lot of qualitative information that goes into it. So, and whether it's feedback from users or from our internal teams and stakeholders, before I was at the score, I started my career as a journalist. I went to journalism school and ended up as a product manager. It's a very weird journey, but so working with the news and content teams when I first started, I have a lot of familiarity with that ecosystem. So one of the first things that I worked on when I joined the score was adding article comments to our articles, which is not a lot of news organizations really add comments at this point in the, at the stage of the game because the world is a weird place. But our users we had a public chat feature and we could see this type of content that our users were producing. And, there's people who are always gonna try and troll, but for the most part, there's a lot of really positive and really thoughtful conversation that happens. So we wanted to bring that into our articles as well. And again, like I was saying, so my goal for that project was to increase the time that someone spent in the app because as they spend more time, we are able to serve additional impressions to them, and that impacts our, sort of that metric. But before we got into the quantitative side of that test, we did a lot of qualitative research. So we used usertesting.com to put mocks and proposals in front of people we just were all right, are you a sports fan? We didn't really care if they used our app or not. And watch them use these prototypes that we put together to make sure that it would work for the user experience. So it's always about putting that user first as well as driving those metrics. And I think you can do that with both a qualitative and quantitative approach.
So last question before we throw it over to the audience for any questions. Really quickly, what are some product trends that you're seeing or using for 2019, 2020?
Okay, I'll start.
And into 2020.
Pardon?
And into 2020.
Oh, yes. So we started this last year, so it'll definitely take us into 2020 in order to actually execute. So again, going back to what I was talking about in terms of customer feedback and usage and the fact that, I really focus on product and how our customers are engaging with our product and hence using our product, which will in turn help them help us retain our customers and continue to acquire new customers, is going back to how they're activating and using the product. So we noticed that we've run lots of marketing campaigns in terms of sending emails to our new customers that have just bought our product that maybe haven't activated the product yet or haven't set up certain features. We want to guide them to starting off with their product when they first purchase. We've tried lots of different types of onboarding programs through emails, through webcasts that we host, and even just one-on-one consultative calls that we do with our customers to help them get started with our product. And we notice, some of these aspects you can scale, some of these aspects really the one-on-one calls, you can't really scale that as much. So it was very problematic for us to, because we were trying these different types of programs, we noticed that our customers aren't really engaging with our emails, or some would attend the webcasts and some wouldn't. So we weren't really optimizing the way we could reach out to our customer and get them to start our product, start using our product, and also using our product as optimally as possible, so that they're not missing out on certain features and thinking, oh, this Sage accounting solution doesn't have this feature, let me go to a competitor to find it. So we wanted to make sure that they are holistically using the product and getting as much from it as possible. And we've discovered through the multiple ways that I've explained how we understand product usage and get feedback from our customers and see how they're using our product is we tested actually different in-product messaging solutions. So we tried just messaging our customers about the latest release within the product rather than outside of the product. And we noticed that we get better engagement and better usage around some of the features that we launch during product launches and through these communications within our product. So then we decided that we were going to build a 4-part in-product discovery solution, which includes product messaging, how to onboard, and various other aspects. So we're developing this in-house as well as using some, like I mentioned before, some other companies who have perfected some of these features, such as Pendo. So for example, we're using Pendo to do the onboarding carousel. So you might have seen this in other solutions where you start up your solution or product, or you're in whatever you're using, and as soon as you start it up or you register or activate it, you'll see a carousel of messages that show you, hey, you can do this with your product, you might want to set up this aspect in your product when you first start, and so on. So that's one of them, and then the other one is being able to message our customers anytime we want within the product, so it's almost like they have an inbox in their product where they receive messages from us or our partners. And then the third aspect is basically in product discovery, where you see little pop-ups throughout the various screens in your product, where it basically highlights different functionalities. So, for example, if I wanted to, as a business, I wanted to accept payments through my accounting solution, in the payments, as you're creating an invoice. In the process of creating an invoice, you would get a pop-up that said, "Hey," would say, "Hey, I see that you're creating this invoice. You actually have the option of accepting payment through this invoice digitally." So those sorts of aspects help us better communicate with our customers while they're in the product, so that you're not having to jump to another platform and then jump back to your product, and really deliver the messages that we want to deliver and be able to promote the usage that we want to see from our customers.
So having guides and tutorials outside of the onboarding process.
Exactly. So we're still continuing the emails and webcasts and whatnot, but this really, we saw that the in-product discovery is what really promotes usage from our customers.
Yeah, a lot of what Tanzina said, I was also going to reiterate, because I think onboarding is so important from a product perspective, because, as I was saying earlier, no matter how much you spend or how great your UA team is, like if you get users in and then they just fall right out, then it was all for nothing. So getting that user from a point of acquisition to the activation is really, really important. So you have to understand, again, what those activation points are. And if it's doing a certain action within a certain number of days, or a certain number of different actions in different areas of the app, understanding that and really building products and funnels and tools and testing out different ways, because you're going to do it. And I always assume that no one reads anything, so you're going to see something, you're just going to exit out. So your UX and design needs to also be the design of the onboarding needs to be intuitive, and it needs to bring up, like you were saying, at a point where it makes sense to the user to introduce them to new features, and introduce them to the features that might help them hit that so-called aha moment a bit sooner, or before that they are a risk for churn.
And I'm very curious to know, what are the sources? And I think Tanzina mentioned customers, but what are the various sources? Are there fancy product offsites? Customers is one, the industry, competition, and how do you weigh which one to then put in the map?
It's a combination of all of that. So there's competitor analysis. You have to keep an eye on what your competitors are coming up with. Customers is our most important one. And of course, the market, what the demand is within the market. So it's a combination of all of that. But at Sage, customer comes first. And so we take a look at, features will make the lives of our customers easier. And then, of course, competitors is also, what our competitors are coming up with is a huge, huge driver, because we want to make sure we're competitive within market. We want to make sure if we're coming up with a new feature that, you know, we've thought of ourselves or our customers have pointed out, that we are first to market with that, so that we can gain that competitive advantage.
One thing I want to mention, in addition to the tools, we know, like customer feedback, for us, customers are the members who run the platform, plus our HR administrators, plus CFOs of the companies, but also it's really important to see how you want to differentiate yourself in the future and build a step ahead. Like, this is how we arrive to this, what we call HBX experience, that integrates health and benefits, because we could have repeated what everyone else does and just make a digital app for benefits, but we saw that that's not sufficient. To really differentiate ourselves, our hypothesis was that to decrease costs for the employer, it's actually to decrease their cost of claims, to decrease high-cost claims, and that needs to bring health together. And so this was part of more strategic thinking and more really thinking of how do we differentiate, how do we actually solve the mission that we have, which is empower healthier outcomes. And that mission really helped us to arrive to what we now define as a new category, which is HBX, Health Benefits Experience.
And just one more thing quickly on that. It's a bit what the customer tells you they're having problems with or what they want, but it's also, as like a product team or organization or whoever's in that room, about understanding the actual problem that that person's trying to solve. Because they can tell you that they want something, but if you actually dig a bit deeper and you just ask them why a couple of times, it's actually that they're trying to solve this other problem, and you may have a solution for it, you may be working on something, but it's about understanding that sort of root problem and not just saying, like, I want this, and you're like, here is this, and then they're like, but I want this, and because we didn't actually solve the root problem.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.